Peace and blessings. I am Dr. Nathaniel Stampley, Senior Pastor, People of the Book International Ministries in Belize City, which is in Belize, Central America. Today I'm going to share with you Back to Basics. Please visit our website, peopleofthebook.rntmin.com. My intent is always to inspire and inform and not cause confusion and chaos. However, illusion and substitutions are realities to be reckoned with. For example, here are a few contrasts or discussion starters to be considered. Substance versus form, spiritual versus religious, principle versus practices, black versus white, truth versus lie, right versus wrong, and original versus substitute. Of course, the list can go on and on. Western values dominates the media and world agenda in such a fashion that the hybrid and unnatural realities appears to be the standard and represent that which is beneficial to you. This notion is insane, and we must return to the basics. Where did the discussion and orientation of idolatry, religion, and doctrine come from? Why does it appear religious people are quick to condemn and label others heathens or heretics simply because he or she does not think or believe as they do? Here are a few more discussion starters for your consideration. How did a meat, carbohydrate, dairy, and sugar-based diet replace an organic-based, plant-based diet? How did the name Christianity become synonymous with the church and the gospel of the kingdom? What did Yeshua, who is Jesus Christ, really teach versus the current denominational dogmas, creeds, doctrine of today? How did the minority manage to take control of the natural resources and the wealth management in the world? How do we explain the group that is the smallest as taking control and manipulate the larger group when it comes to essential needs? How is it we allow ourselves to merely feel good in the arenas of religion, politics, sports, education, and entertainment, all the while we see poverty, illiteracy, violence, dysfunctional families, and crime rampant in the communities we live? Why do we talk faith and behave in a faithless manner? Nelson Mandela was a brilliant and humble man, but fate would have it that he would suffer unjustly in prison for 29 years. Nonetheless, he had the wherewithal to say these profound words: "Any man or institution that tries to rob me of my dignity will lose." He went on to say, "I'm not a Messiah, but an ordinary man who became a leader of extraordinary circumstances." I see in a similar manner because I am sick and tired of celebrating wrong deeds and ignoring the gross injustices and oppression of my people. I'm tired of accepting the reality of choosing between the lesser of two evils. I was created to be free, and so were you. The road to freedom is often met with prolonged and evil challenges. Nonetheless, there are clearly defined spiritual, universal, and natural patterns in life to discover and follow. Racism is evil and not natural. Oppression is not natural. Violence is not natural. Sickness and disease are not natural, and ignorance is not natural. All of these and many more realities are man-made and orchestrated by evil mind and intent. The basis I am referring to must revolutionize the way we have been taught and replace it with emphatically saying Africa is the motherland. I love it. Let me say it again. Africa is the motherland. White supremacy has done its part in portraying Africa as a habitation of wild, heathens, evil, and backward people. Human life started on the continent, and our ancestors mastered the patterns of wholesome living and subsequently took that knowledge and literally populated the rest of the entire world. This information is known but often hidden. The esteemed Marcus Garvey said these words: "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind." He went on to say, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." Now, these are profound and simplistic lessons entrenched in people with noticeable melanin, that's black and brown as we see. Now, there are spiritual, psychological, and physical patterns being carried out when you see a black man and woman maximizing their potential. We were created to worship and serve. We are giving and sharing. But something interrupted our rhythmic flow within our natural environment. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, an ancestor, psychiatrist, educator, Pan-Africanist, and Afrocentrist as described, is noted for her outstanding scholarship in the book entitled The ISIS Paper. She points out, I quote, "There's a systematic and perpetual plan on the part of the Aryan race to annihilate and to neutralize the black race, and particularly the black male." She goes on to mention white people are genetically defective descendants of albino mutants. She was a medical doctor and scholar that spent all of her adult life championing the cause of explaining what has caused this rift in the black-white relationship. At the core of this relationship, it appears to be a rejection of some sort. Even further, it appears that whites are the ones behaving as inferior, but defer that to blacks. All the races are derived from the black man and woman in Africa. This is not a discourse on hatred and retaliation. Instead, we must get to the root cause of this nonsense called racism and return to the basics. Observe the way blacks are treated across the board, especially in the courts, in the presence of law enforcement suspected of a crime or any infraction of the law. Freedom and creativity are natural realities, whereas oppression and complacency are substitutes that will stifle and cripple wholesome living. People of the book, International Ministry, is emerging in beliefs and will help us return to basics, both individually and collectively. James Baldwin once said, "Our crown has already been bought and paid for. All we have to do is wear it." No one should become comfortable with a lie and oppression in any form, physical or mental. A lie or false teachings represents a flaw in character and at all costs must be addressed and corrected. President Donald Trump is drawing lots of attention with his bizarre behavior and policies. It should be noted, he does not stand alone, but represents a group interest. I try my best to remain humble, disciplined, informed, and compassionate. However, over the course of my 68 years on earth, I have observed some profound lessons and patterns. For example, let me list a few topics or subjects that for the most part they ignored and brushed over rather than sincerely dealing with them. Okay? Why aren't we taught? Bottom line, Africa is the motherland and the birthplace of civilization. African Americans and blacks worldwide must be paid reparation due to the disruption and inhumane maltreatment during the Arab slave trade and American chattel slavery. Who should be involved in making these payments? Arab Muslims in the Middle East and North Africa, European nations, United States government, federal and state level, Catholic and Protestant churches, Anglican churches, Eastern Orthodox Church, Ivy League schools and universities throughout the United States of America, European universities, and business corporations linked to slavery. What is the mission of racism and how do you see her operating today? These are topics that we need to deal with, not brush over, but deal with. Why are there more black prisoners in the United States than any other place in the world, and wherever black resides seems to be the majority of prison inmates? Why do you suppose blacks are demonized and depicted as shiftless and unproductive throughout the global community, but yet blacks are the one that built America? So that lazy mindset is relatively new. Who benefited from slavery? Spiritually speaking, what is the true role of women in ministry? What is the Bible? What is the mission of the church? What is the history of Christianity? What is the role of denominations? Can you see the role of politics and economics working hand in hand? Do you see the importance of economic development and wealth management more so than just employment or having a job? How do you explain the disproportionate number of non-black businesses in our community, whereas blacks are now doing likewise in foreign communities elsewhere? Why is it so easy to do business, set up shop in the black and poor community? Do you understand the amazing potential lodged in community cooperatives? If education is linked to intelligence and the advancement of society, then explain why it has happened, then explain what has happened to the needs and development of black communities globally speaking. What is the root cause of so many dysfunctional families? Why do you suppose more funds are put into hospitals, clinics, and pharmacies than preventive medicine, preventive care, whole foods, and exercising? What is the root of the evil policies toward immigration? Back to Basics is a thought-provoking topic that touches upon the saddened reality that blacks have been played upon and bamboozled. The truth may be suppressed for an extended period of time, but she will not be destroyed or denied. The cover is being pulled back, and President Trump and other world leaders are illustrating their disconnection with the needs of the people. There's more than enough to go around, more than enough resources available in God's creation on the earth as well as beneath the sea for every family on earth to live a meaningful life. Technology has its place, and there are those with bigger appetites and vision than others. However, corruption, selfishness, and greed have no place on earth. If the global community is serious about equality and fairness, then blacks must be respected and reckoned with by distributing reparation. I do not claim an ounce of hatred or bigotry in my being, but I stand for the truth. I know a gross error when I see it, and historically speaking, the black man and woman have been teamed up against and played against religiously, economically, educationally, politically, and psychologically. The line is drawn and the game rules are changing because the resurrection is underway. Immigration and civil rights are interesting, noteworthy topics with a lot of passion. However, none of them without addressing the economic plight of the disinherited will ever have a favorable ending. Negotiating and equality must be discussed and addressed, but you cannot have an oppressor and oppressed hand dealing at the same time. Lack of wholesome respect will result in business as usual. All hands must be transparent and clean if you're talking about economic retribution and shareness of the economic pie. Therefore, until reparation is addressed and implemented, we'll continue to see the same ugly face of racism controlling all the institution that shapes our views and policies secretly and openly. I am a free man because I understand discipline, accountability, intelligence, business, economic, culture, education, healthy living, governmental affairs, and spirituality. Therefore, I want you to live accordingly. Think outside the conventional box that is placed upon you. Peace be upon you.